What is up, everyone? Welcome to Ambience in Design. I know I've been away for a long time, but now I'm back with more content. I just finished my second semester of third year. Things went really well. I'm gonna post more content about that in the future. But for today, we're gonna be talking about the next phase within Design 2.2. I hope you guys enjoy the video. As the first project of Architecture 202 ended, the studio moved to a mini second project in a total of 4 within the semester. In the mini second project called Residence 2, students are encouraged to explore even further in the idea of details. Utilizing the small-scale models that we made in the mini project as the starting point for fundamental aspects such as connections, gravity, and materiality. With the information that we have gathered through the first project, each group or individual within the studio need to produce a mundane element of housing. Things such as windows, doors, stairs, etc. I got quite excited with the idea of designing an element with unconventional details that would represent my design thinking at that current point in time. Firstly, I chose the door to be my subject of design. The decision to pick the door to design stems from a series of thoughts. Like architecture, door is a construct of man. But what separates a stone cave from a log cabin are the carefully crafted products that when assembled produce shelters that are aesthetically pleasing and functional. Since we put so much effort into crafting an element, I think that as a designer, I could celebrate and go beyond far of what a 7x3 slab of wood with 2 hinges on one side and a knob on the other. The first iteration was that the door would be a part of the fence, and the only way to recognize or distinguish between the door and the fence is what seems likely an oddly placed metal bar, which is actually the contraption to open the door. As you pull it from side to side, each fence would raise up from right to left, giving the user an entrance or an exit. Afterwards, the fences would drop down through a system of counterweight, thus closing the door. Then I started thinking about the design of the interior space of the shelter would have the same motif like the door. Elements from the architectural detail projects such as balancing, counterweight, tensions establish a space where the material would be wood dominant, with the furniture hanging from the ceiling and a playfulness of height levels within the house. During the process of designing the door, I noticed that there was an increased interest in wanting to know the mechanical components of my design. My mental focus shifted from the conceptual to something a little bit more tangible. I wanted to make the door heavier and the tension mechanic even more pronounced so that the idea of a concrete door came up in my mind. What if there is a concrete door and instead of swinging it to open like a conventional door, it is pulled up by a system of gears? I was obsessed with the idea. I researched about gears, particularly gear ratio, how to transfer force in different planes, and force in general. Problems that I encountered were very specific and challenging, but I finally got all of them figured out, the mechanism of the concrete door and how to operate it. The next design challenge was to integrate the design into a dwelling environment. At this point, I needed to seek out points of reference. One is a drawing of a garage door, and the other one is Tom Kundig's works. The Chicken Point cabin, designed by Tom Kundig, with a large operable windows or door, was my President's studies. Elements that I learned from the President's study included the proportion, the relationships between materials, and the drawings which show the operation of the door. Whereas the door from the Chicken Point cabin reflects Tom Kundig's design style, which are planes of material and his obsession with mechanics. My design should reflect the weight of the concrete door and the complexity of the mechanism. So with all the work I've done, it was time for the review of this project. The first drawing shows the components of the concrete door design in isometric view. With this drawing, viewers can easily differentiate all the components which make up the door. The next two drawings shows the sequence of how the door operates. The user would start by swinging the door handle, thus turning the gear underneath that is attached to the door handle, turning it from right to left. As the big gear turns, it transfers the force to the smaller gears, which ended up pulling the chain that would pull the door upward. The next two drawings show the door from plan, elevation, and section view. Finally, here are some renderings to show how the door would look like in real life.